Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I hire a nanny to watch her baby so she can go party. After that, my wife, a stay-at-home mom, constantly expects appreciation from me. And after that, stepmom let my stepsister break my birthday present before I even got it. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to go party instead of watch her baby. What baby? You won't give me one, Reddit boy. Gee, I wonder why. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I hire a nanny to watch her baby so she can go party. My daughter, 17 female, has a 1-year-old daughter. The father is not around. We sued for child support and won, but he has never paid a dime. It was very important to not only my daughter, but myself and her mother that she finish high school, then go to college. Therefore, we made a deal. We will cover childcare expenses and everything related to the child, diapers, clothes, insurance, etc., until she graduates from college. In exchange, our daughter will focus on school and care for her daughter when she is home. Due to lockdown concerns, my wife and I have decided that a nanny would be better versus putting her in daycare exposed to the other kids. The nanny is a very sweet woman who in the past has offered to watch our granddaughter extra hours. We always tell her that won't be necessary. My daughter usually leaves for school right before the nanny arrives, so I stay with my granddaughter for 10 minutes. Today, when the nanny came, we were talking about potential bad weather that might close the roads for tomorrow. As she doesn't work Fridays, my wife is home and watches the baby. I said I'd pay her for the week now, including a full day for Thursday. She said we could just pay her on Saturday. I was confused, and she said my daughter had asked her to work. I told her, 1, my daughter did not hire her. She doesn't choose the hours, we do. 2, unless our daughter needs to study or something, we won't be needing her. I waited until my daughter came home to talk to her about it. She said that her friends were going to a party. She feels overwhelmed from school and caring for a baby. I told her I understood, but this was our deal. She started to cry and said that all her life is school and baby. I hugged her, told her that this was the bed she made and she was lucky to have the arrangement she does. If she wants to earn her own money, she can get a part-time job and pay for childcare in her free time. That just made her more upset. My wife agrees with me, but our daughter is very upset and thinks we should just cave just this once. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. This may be unpopular, but I agree with you and your wife. What clinched this was that she went behind your back on this. She might have asked you about having a night off to have fun. That's a reasonable request, but she didn't. She tried to sneak one by you. 17 and the mother of a 1-year-old, she still has a lot of growing up to do. Adults talk and tell each other what's going on. She's a child raising a child. Talk to her, work out something so she gets to be a teenager at least once or twice a month. These are not easy times we're in. I agree, not the jerk at all. She made the choice to have a kid and now she's stuck with the consequences. Don't like not being able to go party, where there's likely going to be drinking going on that shouldn't be? Sucks, friend. You're a mom now. Moms have to put their child first, no matter what. She's also getting free childcare while she goes to school and doesn't work, which most young parents would do anything for. She's being ungrateful, especially because she's gone behind her parents' backs to get what she wants. Moms have to put their child first, no matter what? I don't think that's true. I'm a mom, and occasionally I'm allowed to do things for myself. Always putting my kids and my husband first doesn't make me the best parent I can be. If all this poor girl is doing is school and parenting, and she is as burnt out as she says she is, she can't be a very good mom to her kid. I'm not saying what she did was right, but she deserves a break or she will literally break. And honestly, I think it's crappy for OP to tell the daughter if she wants to have any free time, she has to get a job to earn money to pay for childcare. The daughter would probably make less than a nanny, so how can she earn enough to pay for the nanny while she works and save enough to pay her so she can go out too? Or was OP offering to pay the nanny while the daughter works? It didn't sound like it, so OP wasn't offering a realistic solution, i.e., the daughter will never be able to do anything other than study and parent. I think it sounds like the daughter is being punished for having the baby, but being told she is lucky. Gaslighting at its finest. Parents don't get a night off. Didn't that Dayquil commercial teach you anything? The problem with this setup is that she needs to grow up. Yeah, she's a kid. Boo-hoo. Well, she's a kid who decided to keep a kid. It ain't all teen moms, honey. It's hard work, and sometimes you miss parties, especially if you don't communicate. Imagine if this girl had said, "Hey mom, Susie is having a party on Saturday. Can you watch the baby?" Or "Can you pay Nanny to watch the baby?" It would have been way different. Teaching responsibility is part of parenting. That's all this dad is trying to do. Parents get nights, or at least hours and time off all the time. Grandparents take them. Spouse has them while the other goes out. Family babysits, friends watch kids, etc. Now, she's 17, and some of these aren't available, and etc. But to say parents don't get time off as a blanket statement is dumb. She's always a parent, but most parents once or twice a month will get some child free time, and this is better for their kid because burnt out and sanity management is real. 100% she should have communicated and not gone behind her own parents' backs though. She's not actually always a parent. Her parents are kind enough to let her focus on studies, so she is free of her baby for quite a while every day. Yeah, WTF, as if no socializing occurs at high school. This daughter has about the best possible arrangement here for a teen parent who insists on keeping the baby. Imagine what it's like for so many others without wealthy parents. OP is being extremely reasonable. I get the impression that they'll work with her on important stuff like prom too. To portray this as though she's suffering from anything but her own choice is asinine. You don't teach responsibility by burning out a kid. She messed up. Big deal. Now she's acting according to the deal. But she's still a kid. Do we really want to read about something bad happening to that baby because the mom was depressed and didn't see a way out? Just because she has it good doesn't mean it's not heavy on her teenage mind. It's a situation that messes up adults. Imagine kids. Yeah, this time she doesn't get to go to the party because she went behind her parents' back, but using maternity as a punishment isn't going to get anyone far. I agree with not the jerk, but the line, "This is your bed, now you lie in it," is a bit harsh. I mean, your daughter is practically a baby and made a bad choice. Maybe offer her another way to pay back for a night out with friends, and I agree that sneaking out is a bit shady. In general, it seems that you are hostile to the baby. Not the jerk. You're being very kind, supportive, and reasonable here. She's lucky to have such an arrangement, but she's also still a teenager who, yes, has to suffer the consequences, for lack of a better term. I'm sure the kid is much loved, but will need fun on occasion, or her kid might suffer too. She's still a kid herself, despite the very grown moment of having a baby. Maybe if she has one night a month or something and scheduled ahead, you could come up to an agreement. Not the jerk. She's lucky her life is school and baby, and not job and baby, or welfare and baby. That being said, if she had come to you first and asked you or her mother to babysit, then maybe you would have done so as a one-off. Pretty common for the grandparents to do that on occasion, even for a teen mom who has made her bed to lie in. She went way out of line by asking the nanny to do this behind your back. I can see your side of things, but you really need to remember that she's still a kid herself. She's taking the best possible path forwards by being responsible and finishing school with plans to go to college. Outside looking in, that's huge. I've got a teenager that's in the same age range, and personally, if this were my kid, I wouldn't be caving in this time because it gives the impression that I can be pressured into giving in. But I'd definitely be making sure that they got a chance to be a kid every now and then. She's only a kid once, and though she's made some massively life-altering decisions, it would be wrong to completely deny her the opportunity to be a teenager while she still has the chance. 50-50. You're not the jerk yet, but you could easily become the jerk. Everyone sucks here. I don't agree with how your daughter handled it, but I will say I do think that your daughter still needs some time every once in a while to have some me time. I think a lot of people get so hung up over their ideas for young mothers that they use the resulting kid as a punishment and completely forget that we tell older, married, settled, etc. mothers that it's okay for them to take time to themselves. If all your daughter does is literally care for her kid in school, she's going to burn out. She still needs to be allowed to practice some self-care and to be an individual. The child shouldn't be a punishment, and I think this course of action is just going to breed resentment all around in the long term. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his daughter? Please let us know.
Bruh, let her go to that party. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to get a second grandkid.
My wife, a stay-at-home mom, constantly expects appreciation from me. I, 36 male, work full-time, and my wife, 32 female, is a stay-at-home mom looking after our 2-year-old twins. When we got married, we both agreed that my wife would be a stay-at-home mom, especially since we don't have any family or grandparents nearby. We were both in agreement, and my wife made it clear she wanted to enjoy seeing our kids grow up. We don't plan on having any more. I make a good wage, so we are comfortable. I don't give my wife any spending limits. Obviously, we discuss big purchases, so she's free to buy herself things. I make sure she has access to money, and she takes care of everything around the house. I work from home, and a typical day for me is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once I finish work, I go and spend time with the twins while my wife makes dinner. We put them to bed together, and my wife usually cleans up the kitchen. She's great at her job, and the house is spotless. I'm happy with this arrangement, and I thought my wife was too. Recently, she's been coming to me and saying that she feels burned out, unappreciated, and taken for granted. I asked if I could do anything to help, and she said that it would be nice if I did something now and again to show that I appreciated her, like buying her favorite bar of chocolate when I go to the shop or something small, just as a gesture of appreciation. I'll admit that I didn't do this, purely because I am not in the habit, to be honest. We recently had a massive argument because my wife got completely fed up with being treated like a servant. She basically said that her working hours are 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, and that she feels like I take her for granted. I told her that I understand it's a tough job, but we both get on with our respective roles. I never ask her to thank me for making money. I think that's cringeworthy. I get on with my job because I have to provide for my family, whereas she wants presents and treats for doing her job. I essentially said this to her, and now I'm wondering if I'm the jerk. Looking after kids in the house is tiring, and she does work hard to take care of everything. But at the same time, do I need to thank her on a bended knee and buy her things just for doing her job? Am I the jerk? Edit. Okay, you can all stop tearing me a new one. I get it. I do get to relax on the weekend, whereas my wife usually does her normal routine and gets on top of the cleaning, etc. Just for the record, I do thank her for everything she does. I say thank you all the time, but I understand that this may not be her love language. You're the jerk. Is it really too much for your wife to ask that you occasionally buy her a bar of chocolate or say thank you? It sounds like she's working harder than you, but that isn't even the point. Appreciating her and showing her you love her is part of being a decent husband. If you're a robot who doesn't need appreciation, that doesn't mean she has to be too. You're the jerk. I have 3-year-old twins and a new baby. I've been a mother every waking and sleeping minute of the day for just over 3 years, not including a 9-month pregnancy with 2 babies that equal 9 months of illness, sickness, and a broken body. Your wife is working all the time. You get to clock off at 5, and you don't even have to travel to work. Your wife not only keeps 2 small humans alive, your wife not only keeps your house in excellent condition, your wife not only cooks and keeps on top of food prep and buying, etc. Your wife not only drives everywhere to get things done, but she does this every day for 2 years without asking for anything from you. Then the moment she does, the moment she opens up to you about how she feels, you dismiss her feelings and tell her you won't even help her feel a little appreciated? Well, newsflash, you get the feeling of appreciation. A job done every time you make money, every time you please coworkers or clients, every day you keep your job. 2-year-olds cry and complain and eat and cry and laugh. No one stops to tell her or even gesture that your wife is a superhero like every stay-at-home parent. Buy her a chocolate bar and some flowers, then use them to knock some sense into yourself. Edit to add. If you're a stay-at-home parent and you read this comment and say you don't agree because you feel appreciated by your kids as infants, then that's great. Really, it is. But this woman doesn't, and she opened up to her husband about her feelings, and he dismissed them. He says she shouldn't need a treat, as if she's a dog, a performing dog. You're the jerk, dude. I'm a stay-at-home wife too. I'd be single if my husband treated me like this, especially because I'm running an entire farm on my own while he's at work. From the title, I was expecting her demanding way more than an occasional candy bar and some verbal affirmation. This man is married to an absolute sweetheart, and he doesn't see it. I'm not a stay-at-home mom, and my husband brings me chocolate bars all the time. It's not that hard. I've spent periods functioning as a stay-at-home mom, summers, and periods working full-time. Being a stay-at-home mom isn't necessarily harder, but it's a different kind of hard. It's isolating in a way that's hard to shake. At work, when I do something well, I get a high five from a coworker, or I get a student telling me something was helpful. Parenting toddlers, they don't and can't do that because they're babies. Their whole life experience is based on meeting their needs and wants. It's grinding and mentally hard, and your wife is parenting twins and keeping the house really clean? She's a rock star and deserves way more than cards and chocolate. My house was a train wreck with one toddler and one preschooler. Please, OP, listen to her. She's isolated, probably lonely, working a repetitive job with two tiny people who are constantly trying to destroy the house and find creative ways to get hurt. Think about the hours you spend watching them. Imagine doing that while also cooking and cleaning. She does that all day, every day. I bet it would mean a whole lot to her for you to spend some time noticing and valuing what she does. Wow, spouse! Kid number 1 knows all of her colors now. You're doing a great job at this mom thing. Thanks for finding extra time to plan the twins' birthday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey spouse, I found a sitter free next Friday. Let's go out to dinner since we've both been working so hard. Just make her feel seen and appreciated. It goes a long way for a stay-at-home parent whose job can easily feel invisible. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know.
I'm feeling a little unappreciated myself, Reddit boy. King-size Twix, make it snappy.
Stepmom let my stepsister break my birthday present before I even got it. I, 14 male, really like steam trains, and my favorites are from Britain. My parents are divorced, and both my mom and dad got remarried. My stepmom has 2 daughters from another marriage, Kelly, who's 18, and Anne, who's 9. When I was 12, I started mowing lawns and walking dogs so I could get some money and start collecting models. Since there's so many different models out there and so many liveries, I decided to limit myself to preserved locomotives and the liveries they're preserved in and unique locomotives. This Christmas, my mom and stepdad surprised me with 4 out of the 6 preserved A4s, Mallard, Bittern, Union of South Africa, and Dominion of Canada. On my birthday, January 14th, I asked my mom, stepdad, dad, and stepmom for the remaining 2 A4s, Dwight D. Eisenhower and Sir Nigel Gresley, and my mom and stepdad got me Sir Nigel Gresley and the rebuilt W1. I went to my dad's the next day and saw my dad, stepmom, and stepsisters. I opened my gifts, and when I was done, my dad went and brought another bag out. I pulled out the tissue paper, and there was a model train inside. I pulled it out, but before I could look at it, the model fell out. I looked at the box, and the back was ripped out. I showed my dad, and he looked confused when stepmom chimed in.
Oh, Anne threw a tantrum, so I let her play with that last week.
I looked at the model, and the paint was all scratched, and the side rods were bent. One of the axles was cracked too. I was really upset that Anne did so much damage, and my stepmom just put it back into the box. I was upset since I didn't have much there, and the little bit of stuff I do have there, Anne's broken. I angrily asked, "Why do you let her break everything of mine?" And my stepmom said,
"Just get over it already."
I snapped and said, "I will when you stop letting Anne be so spoiled and start being a better parent." That ticked her off, and she called me an ungrateful jerk. I asked my dad to take me home, and he did. I talked to my dad a little on the ride home, and he said he would get me a replacement. He came with a replacement today after school with stepmom and Anne. I thanked them, and my dad made Anne apologize. I felt kind of awkward because I had nothing to talk about, so I asked if they wanted to watch me run it. They came to my room, and my stepmom saw the other 5 A4s and W1. The W1 got rebuilt with an A4 boiler, so they look similar, and started to flip out that I wasted their money, and she tried to take the model from me. My mom and stepdad came in before she could grab it and asked what happened, and my stepmom told them that I wasted their money because I already have models like the one they got me. My mom tried to explain that it looks similar because it's part of the same class, but my stepmom wasn't having it. My stepmom tried to grab it again, but my stepdad intervened and kicked them out. My stepmom started to make a scene, but my dad seemed embarrassed and quickly said, "Let's just go," and grabbed Anne and my stepmom's hands and pulled them to the car. This might sound bad, but you might have to limit your time with your dad if she doesn't change. And it's your dad's fault as he isn't stepping up and protecting you from her. And happy late birthday. OP, I think I do have to limit my time with him since he's not stepping up. And thank you. Am I the jerk for throwing a tantrum while pregnant? I'm 30 weeks pregnant, and I have a lot of appointments I have to go to, about 45 minutes away. My husband broke his leg over the holidays, and I've been told I'm not allowed to drive because of one of my complications, so we've been trying our best to manage with all of that. One thing we've been doing is paying a good friend of ours $50 and a homemade dinner to drive me to appointments. It's worked out really well. I casually mentioned it to my mom, and she threw a fit and said she would drive me. I declined as I was comfortable with the arrangement with our friend. Well, last week, my mom knew I had an appointment, so she, coincidentally, came to drop some stuff off. I really don't like when she comes by unannounced, so I was a bit annoyed right before and insisted on driving me. It felt a bit diva-ish to ask our friend to still come when she was there and willing, so I agreed. We were almost late because she insisted on stopping for Starbucks in the city. I got bad news in the appointment, and she just complained about how bored she had been. People can't join me for these appointments, it's a clinic rule. She made 5 different stops to shop while I sat in the car just wanting to get home to process the news and lay down. I said this to her multiple times, but it was, "Oh, just one thing, just one thing." Then she said she wanted to stop at a friend's house because they wanted to see me. I snapped at her. I told her absolutely not, and I needed to be home now. She was quiet the rest of the drive, and as we were getting close to my house, she said, "Well, if we don't do things for family, maybe I'll cancel my flight and not come help you the week the baby is born." I was stunned. She's going to her place out of the country soon, and I specifically told her we wanted 2 weeks minimum on our own with the baby. I didn't know about this flight. She booked the flight the week I'm supposed to deliver without consulting me. She won't have a place here then either, because she does this kind of timeshare rotate, so she was just assuming she'd stay with us. I lost it. I told her there would be no space for her, as I'd asked my mother-in-law to be there the first few weeks leading up to labor, and then she would be leaving the day we got home to give us our 2-week period, so she needs to find somewhere else to stay. She yelled at me about what a traitor I was to have asked my husband's mom and not her. I told her this whole day was another example of why that was the case. Don't even get me started on the international travel side of things. We were about 15 minutes from my place at the time, so she told me to get out of the car and left. I walked the rest of the way home sobbing, and now my sisters and aunts have all messaged me about how I need to apologize to my mother and how I was throwing a tantrum and being unkind. Am I the jerk? ETA. Wow, I wasn't expecting so many comments, but thank you everyone for the input and support. I really appreciate the perspective, even the "you're the jerks." I'm reading through all the comments and wish I could reply to everyone, but just wanted to say thank you. And also, thanks for my first award. I'm going to sleep on it and come up with a game plan in the morning, but I'm really realizing behavior I've kind of come to accept as normal is pretty inexcusable, and I don't want that around my baby. So I will be planning on going low contact or no contact strategies until things improve. Also, for those worried, to clarify, the walk was 15 minutes, luckily, not a 15-minute drive with a much longer walk, and I still am encouraged to do light activity for now, so while it sucked and obviously unplanned sad walks are awful, it wasn't too damaging. Not the jerk. Mom was way out of line with just about everything. Yeah, OP, your mother is unable to consider your needs above her own, or even as equal to her own. You're dealing with a lot. A pregnancy with no complications is tough enough on its own, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who support you and care for you. Part of supporting and caring for someone is doing it in the fashion they request, not forcing yourself into the situation, by the way. Do not let anyone suggest that you owe your mother anything. Your pregnancy and your baby are not about her, no matter what she says. Do not hesitate to cut her off, and anyone else who so readily and blatantly demonstrates that they do not care at all about your best interests. Not the jerk, and the best of luck moving forward. She left a pregnant woman in the middle of the road that was 15 minutes. Not sure if that's walking or driving, but still, not the jerk. And next time, OP, when you talk to your sister and aunt, just ask them if that is okay, just because you didn't give in to her overbearing demands. I was ready to call her mom the jerk as soon as I heard she stopped by accidentally and pushed the whole "I'm driving you" thing. With every new paragraph, I was thinking, wow, how annoying she is. But then things got a whole other meaning. From being pushy, inconsiderate, and without boundaries, she became malicious and evil. She's a narcissist, and she may very well put her grandchild's life in danger. Her pregnancy has complications. She just received bad news. She was already under stress, which is bad, but then her own mother throws her out of the car to walk for 15 minutes while sobbing. Goodness, the rage I'm feeling. Just a question, whose car was it? Not that it matters, but if she lives overseas, does that mean she was driving OP's car? OP. Fortunately, it was her car. She does this thing where her and my ex-stepdad rotate between their place here and their place down south, so she keeps her car here, but still a very crappy situation. Am I the jerk for charging my aunt and uncle to babysit my little cousins? So I, 18 female, routinely babysit for my aunt and uncle as they both work a lot. I currently babysit their kids, 2 1-year-olds and 1 8-year-old, 5 days a week from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. The older cousin is in school for most of those hours, so he's not so much trouble. I just need to pick him up and ensure he has dinner and does his homework, etc. But it's the twins that I'm primarily taking care of. I recently told my aunt and uncle that as this is severely cutting into my ability to look for a job and start making my own money, that I could only contribute if they paid me, and threw out a ballpark figure of £80 a week, which is far less than I'd make in a full-time job and much cheaper than paying a stranger to take care of the kids. We are family after all, so I don't want to overcharge them. They also make good money, so this would be in no way hurting them. It seems, however, this was a mistake, as my aunt blew up about how entitled I am and how you don't charge family to babysit, and began to rattle off how I have free access to their Wi-Fi and their food, etc. I pointed out that taking care of 2 1-year-olds, I have basically no time to go on the Wi-Fi, and that I can't eat their food and have to bring my own as I'm vegan, and 90% of their stuff isn't compatible with that, which led to a huge argument. I was eventually told to get out. My aunt has now taken to social media to rant about how spoiled and entitled I am, and how she's not going to pay someone for the easy job of taking care of 2 babies who are basically no work, which is hilarious, as I can assure you the 2 1-year-olds are not easy to take care of. My parents are now up in arms over this, defending me, and my mom is not talking to her sister. I just feel awful for causing this family drama. Should I have just continued to do it for free? Not the jerk. Stop babysitting immediately. 12-hour days, 5 days a week, for free? She's crazy. Tell her you're not her slave. You're not even a babysitter. You're a full-blown nanny working overtime for free. Don't accept that £80 when she changes her tune and realizes what real babysitting rates are. Get a job, earn a salary, live your life. ETA, I've lived in London. I bet they're going to the pub a few hours every day after work before coming home, leaving them virtually no time with their kids. These people are downright despicable. ETA again. Not one person here has rated you the jerk, not even the trolls. That should tell you something. Info. What do you want to do for a living? What's your life plan? What are your GCSEs in? Before you started working for free, what did you want to do with your life? You're at the age where you need to think about yourself, your future, your finances. Giving away your precious hours to a well-off couple that doesn't even appreciate them isn't the way to go. You'll look back and wish you'd furthered your own life instead of helping further theirs. Lastly, the concept of family is overrated. You're going out of your way to help your family. They're going out of their way to do you over. Your definition of family is vastly different from theirs. Genetic math? If you say so. When I was a sophomore in high school, our biology teacher gave us a genetic math assignment. We were to use our parents' blood types to determine our possible blood types and then confirm our work by typing our blood in class. This was before current biohazard practices. I'm adopted and knew its implications on the assignment, but my teacher didn't ask, and I was looking forward to having a little fun. He wasn't the worst teacher, but I didn't care for him. I'd been a blood donor, so I knew I was AB positive, and based on the assignment, that was not possible. Typing our blood involved pricking our finger, putting some on 3 separate glass sliders, and applying a drop of reactant on each slide. One reactant identified A, one B, and one positive and negative. Of course, all 3 indicated, so I showed the teacher my work with a confused look. Teacher, you've probably messed up with your test. Each reactant goes only on one slide. Me, yes sir, that's what I did. Teacher, well, something isn't quite right. Let's test again together. We test again, the result was the same. Teacher, I'm sorry, someone must have mixed all these reactants. Let's get new bottles and test again. So I pricked my finger a 3rd time, same result. Now the teacher is getting a little nervous. He's stammering a bit. I just look at him, waiting to see what he'll say. At this point, it's worth noting my biology teacher had only one volume setting, loud. Any conversation he ever had with any student was clearly heard by the whole class. Teacher, do you perhaps have anyone you call Uncle who isn't really your father? Me, oh sure, Uncle Jim is really my second cousin, once removed on my mother's side. Teacher, no. I mean, does your mom have any close male friends besides your dad? Me, confused look. Teacher, so I guess what I'm trying to say, At this point, I'd had my fun. My teacher had beads of sweat on his brow and lip. I interrupted him. Oh, of course. I'm adopted. That was the last year he gave that assignment. Karen's niece doesn't appreciate my gift. I teach her a valuable lesson. For the past few years, every time I buy my niece anything, she complains about it. She has expensive taste, and while I'm not broke, I certainly do not have the money to buy what she asks for. I've told her this in the past, along with her mother. Both seem to understand, but my niece will still get a "that's all" attitude about her. One year, I got her a gift card to her favorite clothing store. It wasn't enough to buy a full outfit from there, but it would get her a pair of jeans or a sweater or something. She said,
"You expect me to be able to use this to buy something?"
Another, I flat out gave her cash to put towards one of the items on our list, and I was told that it wasn't enough. So what was the point? She's 16 now. For her birthday in May, I sent her a gift card to a different store. When she called me to thank me, she said,
"Thank you, even though this isn't enough to buy anything."
I was pretty upset and told my sister I wasn't buying her daughter anything else. She said that wasn't fair because our brother's kids always get something to open on Christmas. Yeah, because his kids aren't ungrateful about the gifts. They understand I'm not the aunt that can spoil them, but they appreciate their small gifts. I still don't want to cause drama on Christmas. Every year, I always get a kid from one of those organizations to buy a gift for. This year, I selected two, one of them wanting something within the budget I set for my nieces and nephews. I bought the present in my niece's name and made a nice handmade card detailing that a gift to a less fortunate kid had been made in her name. We couldn't be together this year for Christmas because of lockdown, but we did a Zoom celebration with everyone. My niece opened her gift and freaked out. She said it wasn't fair everyone else got a gift. I said, I figured this was something that was useful. She got even more upset, broke what my parents got her, and stormed out of the room. My family has called me a jerk for this. They said it would have been better to not get her anything at all. Am I a jerk?
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.